Hey, how's it going? How to polish valve springs, I hope. Okay, the goal of this video is to see if I can DIY polish some valve springs right here at home with some cheap tools and material. I'll give it a shot and see how it turns out and let you know my results. Got a few things I want to try, but who knows what's going to work. We'll find out. Okay, let's get started. What I got here is a Harbor Freight Vibratory tumbler and some walnut shell fine media. What I'm going to use it on is these LS blue beehive valve springs. I got some dark blue and some light blue. Why different colors? I don't know. That's how I got them. And according to online resources, the biggest problem with this tumbler is this wing nut. Comes loose, makes a big old mess, or just ruins the lid or whatever. So online solutions are add more rubber washers and use a nylock nut. So we will give that a try, because last thing I want is a big mess. So I'll get here situated and give you a shot here in a second. Okay, I got it all filled up with the walnut shell. Threw 8 springs in there, though 7 probably fit better than 8. And we'll give this a shot. Extra washers. Nylock nut. And crank her down. We'll give that a shot. I'm going to throw the wing nut on there for good measure. Okay, flip around. Yep, she's loud. Yep, I knew that going in. So we'll see how that turns out here in a couple of hours. It's been about 3 hours. I gave it 2 hours of tumble. And as per the directions, I gave about an hour to let the dust calm down. So we'll see what we got. Oh, one more quick note. This is obviously not the full polishing. This is just me doing some preliminary research as to how to remove the paint. Not all springs have paint on them, just these LS ones, and I'd like to remove it without wasting the more expensive component like compound. So let's see what we got. Okay, let's open her up. Note to self, use a ratchet. Well, for videos. Oop, there's some dust. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, it looks like she's that paint's coming off pretty good. Not so much on the inside. That kind of sucks. Get a little better lighting. Okay, I dug out all 8 of the springs, and here's an interesting side note. The dark blue springs, actually the paint came off much better. The light blue
they're kind of like half and half. I mean, one side's good. Well, this one's actually one of the better ones. This one here, you can see quite a bit of blue paint. Turn it around, and it's starting to come off pretty good. So, I wonder if I overloaded it or I didn't use enough media. I don't know. Maybe I'll throw a 6 back in there this time and give it another 2 hours and see where we end up. As you can hear, it's going again. We'll give it 2 more hours. That was definitely interesting to see the 2 different paint colors turn out different. I mean, I didn't expect that. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely interesting to me. Okay, it's been a couple more hours of tumbling time, and doesn't look like too much better than last time, so I'll show you what we got. Okay, I only tumbled 6 this time. I left 2 out just to see if that made a difference, and it doesn't really appear to be made much of a difference. The lighter springs are starting to wear down a little more, but the dark ones are pretty much looking the same. Insides are still looking like they got plenty of paint in there, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But, you know, I guess we'll try another 2 hours and see what we get. So, I'll see you then. It's been another 2 hours tumble time, so 6 hours total, and this is what we got. Pretty much looks the same as last time. Lighters lost maybe a little more paint, but still got more paint than the dark ones. Inside, still lots of paint. I don't know if it's just thicker there, or I need to maybe try coarser media, or maybe I got too much in the bowl. I don't know. I might try scooping some out. But the last time I threw in 7 springs, you know, trying to get, you know, most bang for my buck time-wise. And I don't know. We'll have to see if I want to try some compound before I switch out this media. Maybe just some coarser media. I don't know. But I think this time I'm going to try one more time with just the fine walnut shell. And I'm going to give it another 4 hours straight this time. And we'll see if we make a dent in the inside paint before I try anything else. So, here we go. 4 more hours of tumble time, so 10 hours total. And the light springs are starting to get pretty good. Dark springs are about the same. And of course the insides are about the same. So, I'll show you what we got. As you can see, not too much paint on the outside of the light spring, but the inside, plenty of paint. Now my theory is that the springs are packing full of media and just sort of tumbling and not doing anything on the inside. Now, I've read that happens sometimes with smaller things like casings, but I wouldn't think that would happen with these springs, but it's possible. I'm loading the tumbler with the springs sideways like this all around. And I guess that could cause them to tumble and roll. So if I load them like, you know, long-wise, stack around maybe more springs or something between the springs to keep them from, you know, banging into each other, that might work better. But first, I think I'm going to try adding some compound. Now, I already ordered some Dillon Rapid Polish according to some advice initially I found about polishing valve springs. But my current research has found that some people use just regular old turtle wax polish or other common polishes. So I think I'll give the cheaper polish a try first and see what that does. Also, another tip I found online was to add cut up strips of dryer sheet to collect the dust and other contaminants from the media like the paint. So we'll see if that helps clean the media up. I'm going to add the compound, run it for about 30 minutes. Then I'll come back out and add the springs and the strips of dryer sheet and run it for about 2 hours, and we'll see what we get. That's about half a bottle of the turtle wax, maybe a little less, and we'll see what that does. Okay. Yep. Well, I meant to do it another 2 hours with the turtle wax, but I got sidetracked with some other stuff and it ended up being more like 5 hours. And I also used the wrong stuff. I was supposed to use turtle wax car polish, not turtle wax chrome polish. So this is what I got. First off, when I opened it up this time, I noticed the lid was wet. And it, dripped into the media some, and looks like the fabric softener sheets did their job and collected some of the junk. But the springs, they look like they have a little more paint off them, but what concerns me is some of them almost look like they're starting to rust. So that's not good. I did run it 5 hours and shut it off and just leave it till overnight to mess with it today. I think it's time for a reset. I'm gonna clean up my tumbler, get some fresh media in there and try the correct advised stuff. I'm still gonna hold off on the Dylan polish because I want to wait to try and use it for the final polish after I get the paint off. So I got some cleaning to do and make a trip to the store, and I'll get back with you. It's a new day and I'm ready to get started on this reset, so here's what we got going. Last night I cleaned up the tub and lid. I just used some hot water and dish soap and an old toothbrush to give it a light scrub. The lid took the most effort to clean up, not that it took a ton of effort. I left the hardware in order, and I also picked up some rubbing compound and polishing compound. Polishing compound is the stuff I believe they recommend, but the rubbing compound should be a little more aggressive, and we'll give that a try with our new box of coarse walnut shell. And there's a tumbler without the bowl, just in case you're curious. Over here we got our new test subjects. 6 fresh used springs. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but these springs are used and no longer going to be actually used. Used. You know what I mean. Anyways, we'll see if the coarse media and the rubbing compound has a better effect on removing the paint on these valve springs. So I will get that going here in a second and give you a shot when I'm done. And we're back. So, how to polish your valve springs, I hope, again. And here's what we got. Coarse media, rubbing compound. The guide I found said to use it a lot, so I'm just going based on that. If you want to see the difference in the different medias, and I'm going to pour some on top here. Got my popsicle stick to mix it up a little. We'll just stir it up. Now I am going to run this for 30 minutes just to kind of mix it up a little. But last time I just poured it in and turned it on. This time I want to, it kind of clumped up on me that way, and I want to give this a shot. Yummy. Make some oatmeal cookies or something. Now I'm hungry. Okay, so 30 minutes runtime to mix this stuff up. I'll throw the springs in, and I'll get back at you with the results in maybe 2 hours. Coarse walnut shell and rubbing compound for 2 hours, and this is what we got. Actually looks like I did a better job of removing the paint. The dark ones are pretty much all the exterior, interior untouched, just like the fine media. Light ones, better job of the exterior than the initial 2 hours with the fine media, but inside still untouched. Didn't have a bunch of nasty buildup like the chrome polish in the bowl, but we still have some moisture. I'm not sure if it's just, because anything you pour in there is going to have, some water content. I don't know. I'll have to see what we can figure out. So like I said earlier, I think the springs are packing full of media and just kind of tumbling, and it's not really doing much on the inside. And I have an idea to possibly fix that. When in doubt, cable ties can fix anything. So give me a few minutes and I'll show you what I got. And all done. So I think this is going to work. Zip ties and zip ties. If you've ever seen someone use zip ties for wire separators for those plug wires, this is a similar concept. Well, that's what gave me the idea, obviously. So I'm just going to drop them in like so, spread them out. And we're going to see how this works. If my theory is correct and they are just packing full and tumbling. Well, they probably could still pack full now. So we'll give that 2 hours and see what our results are. 2 more hours on the reset, and zip ties did not seem to help. As you can see, my theory of them tumbling with packed full media doesn't appear to be correct. I'm not sure why the insides are not coming clean. So I may have to do some more research and try and figure this one out. Maybe the media is being used up in the first 2 hours. I don't know. Still getting a little bit of condensation on the lid. Not a lot, not nearly as much with the chrome polish, but still, moisture and bare metal is not a good thing, and you do not want rusty springs. So I'm leaning towards just a dry test, maybe a longer duration. I think I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and maybe think on it a little bit. So we'll see you here in a while. Well, it started to kind of fresh again. I'm going to use new media because I'm curious if I'm wearing it out in the first 2 hours. So I cleaned up the bowl, and one cleaning I noticed this. Here, check this out. See these marks? So yeah, zip tying them together is probably not the best idea if you want your bowl to last and not have holes in it eventually. So now that I got the bowl cleaned up, I'm going to load it up with a fresh load of coarse media, just the walnut media, and we'll give that another 2 hours and see if that helps. So 2 more hours, and same as expected, but you know, we tried that and now I've ruled out the 2 hours is not wearing out the media. You can see still plenty of paint on the inside. Pretty much the same. I kind of figured that would happen, but now we know. Next, I'm going to try a roughly 50-50 mix of coarse and fine walnut shell. So we'll give it 2 hours, see what that does, and then I got something else I want to try. At this point, do I even need to say anything? Yeah. Well, no change to the inside paint. Springs do look a tad bit shinier. As you can see, still plenty of paint. Although the mix did give it a nice shine, but I'm pretty sure the finer grit that I used in the beginning, you know, the straight finer grit, also did the same. So, same results, but I'm not ready to give up yet. I still have to try an endurance run. I want to turn it on, let it run all night, maybe a little bit of tomorrow, you know, 10, maybe 12, 14 hours, we'll see. Then see what happens. One more shot. This is it. It's been 12 hours and it's a good thing I used that nylock nut. Because there's my wing nut. So I'll open her up and we'll see what we got. This is the last valve spring tumbler clip, I promise. I wanted to try one more thing, and I wanted to use some plain unpainted valve springs. I just used some comp cam beehive valve springs that were old and used that I had laying around, and I ran them for about 5 hours, and these are my results. These 5 were used in the tumbler. And this one was not. Still a little oily. Looked the same to me, so I used the same mixed tumbled media. No compound, so I don't know if they need a longer duration or compound added, but at this point I am done with the experiment. I'm happy with the results on my painted springs, and maybe I'll try and polish these up in a later video, but for now, I'm done. Finally got all the things I wanted to try done, so here's a quick wrap-up. I started off with the dry, fine media for a total of 10 hours. Then I added some chrome polish to the fine media for 5 hours, and we ended up with what looked like rust, so I reset to a fresh batch of used springs with coarse media and compound for a total of 4 hours. Then I reset again with fresh coarse media only for 2 hours. And then last I tried a mix of coarse and fine media only for a total of 14 hours. Total time on the second set of springs was 20 hours. The first set of springs was 15 hours. And there's still paint on the inside of the springs. I wouldn't call this experiment a total failure, nor a complete success. I removed some paint, and I'm sure many of you are wondering why I even want to remove the paint. So I'll go into that next. Why don't I want paint on my valve springs? To help explain, I drew this chart behind me. Heat, strength. As temperatures rise, strength will decline in metals. Some more than others. Basically, think of the paint as a thermal barrier that doesn't allow the oil to do its job and dissipate the heat of the springs. All I'm trying to do is help the oil cool the springs more efficiently. Now, some uses this may apply to, others it may not. I'm not going to go into that. There's also other methods of removing the heat, like dedicated spring oilers, and I'm not going to go into that either. This is something I wanted to try that was cheap and easy that I could do myself at home. Overall, I think the tumbler worked good. I think the media worked good. The coarse media was faster at removing the paint, and the fine media left the springs looking shinier. Of course, the springs will still need to be cleaned up if I were to use them. Well, when I use springs in the future, I'll definitely clean those ones up. I'll have to pick out the embedded walnut from some of the coils and wash them and re-oil them. But for now, I'm calling it. I'm done with this experiment. I've learned what I can learn, and maybe next year I'll revisit it. Next winter, I don't know. At this point, I'm done. So, thanks for watching. Hope this helps. Peace out.